Are you seriously going to eat, you fat blibbity blabbity blob?
I mean, some of you might be like,
Continue.
why would I want to start this?
Sensitive. She's sensitive. She's
You are listening to the Tami Talks Unscripted Healing Podcast, where we share stories that are, you guessed it, unscripted.
That's the thing, this journey doesn't stop.
It doesn't really
right?
end. We have a general sense of the topic each episode, but really the whole point is just to show up and be authentic and let our inner child speak its truth. And I have continued to work through that story of constantly hearing, well, we don't want, got a hot dog on our hands. Yeah, guess what, Mr. Sabatsky, you do. So I'm so excited that you are here, and it is my hope that you hear yourself somewhere in the story so that way you can feel seen and heard as well. So let's start talking. Welcome to the Tami Talks Unscripted Healing Podcast. I am here with my guest, Jared Markiewicz.
Yes.
I got it. See, I just do that every time. So we have a mutual friend in Krista, and you were recently a guest on the Madtown Mom Squad podcast.
Yes.
And I was a guest on there a few months ago, right before opening the gym, but we promoted the date and everything, and then we didn't get to open then. And so like, oh man. But she connected
Life
us.
happens.
Oh man, life absolutely happens. But we're open, it's going. So it's kind of funny how parallel our stories are, but almost in this flipped way. And it was very cool. So she connected the two of us. We met for coffee and got to meet your dog.
Yep. Benny is a friend of everybody in the gym and everybody pretty much everywhere.
Very sweet dog.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have you on here. Again, we have very mutual interest, but I wanted to get to know you and what got you here. What led to the passion behind your gym and coaching and what you want to do? Because I think sometimes when I was listening to that podcast, I'm like, this is great information. And I will link that podcast on here because you
Awesome.
gave so many amazing nuggets for moms, but just parents in general about how to make themselves a priority and how they can actually build movement, and not just about movement though, like, right? We know
No, it's
so
not.
much more.
No, not at all. I mean, I think that the key piece, and it's something that I was just recently talking about, and I guess it's this ongoing piece because there's such a push towards, you have to do everything.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's really easy to get caught up in, well, this person's doing it better than me in this section of my life.
Yeah.
And this section of my life that I'm trying to get better at, this person's already doing it at this incredibly high level. And the reality is none of those people got there
Right.
immediately.
Yeah.
And nor were they perfect along the way.
Right.
And so it's this idea of progress, not perfection. And the thing about it is like that statement's been overused so much.
Yeah.
But when you think about it and you think about things you've tried and then failed at, you're like, I want to eat healthier. I want to be more present with my kids. And then one night you're hanging out with your kids and you're on your phone and you're screwing around on social media and they go, hey, Dad, can you put down your phone? Like, I'm not supposed to be doing that. We're supposed to be playing games. And then in your mind, you're like, well, screw it. I'm done. Like, I failed at this. I'm out. Like, I just, this is how it's going to be, right? Versus going, hey, I screwed up. I made a mistake.
Yep.
I need to learn from it.
Yep.
And if I'm better tomorrow, which maybe means that you're only on it for 5 minutes versus 15, you're still not perfect, but you're being conscientious now that, oh, I'm not doing the behaviors that I want to have my kids emulate. And ultimately, I'm not doing the behaviors that I want for my own self-satisfaction, because when you're an empty nester, you're not going to think about the things you're looking at on social media when your kids are out of the house. You're going to think about the time you spent with them when it really mattered. And when because kids become teenagers and they like, no mom, no dad, right? Like, I've got girls, so I feel like I'm going to be a little bit more in the clear than my wife, Emily, but maybe not. Who knows, right? Ultimately, when you have the opportunity, when they actually want to spend time with you, those are the kinds of things that will not get forgotten by you or by them.
Yeah. I want to come back to that and just about that connection and that intentional time, but let's back up and let's let everyone know
for sure.
who is Jared.
Just go right into it.
We're going to dive right in, but let's back up. Like, who is Jared? Obviously, you're a husband, you're a father, you're a gym owner, coach, speaker, all the things, but like, who is Jared?
Yeah. It's a great question. So I went through an exercise. Simon Sinek has his book Start With Why. And there's a companion book to that, which is Find your why.
Mm.
And I went through that exercise with a coach of mine, Peter Armstrong.
Yeah.
Shout
out, Peter.
Yeah. Which
He'll be on here sometime.
We talked about that. Yeah. And we went through that exercise, and it was really interesting because we spent about 3 hours doing it. So he's kind of my facilitator, I guess.
Yeah.
And most of the time was spent talking about like things that I did in high school and college that like I knew weren't genuinely me, but I felt like to fit in with the crowd, you had to do it, like drinking, smoking pot, stuff like that, where it's like I never got the same sensations other people seemed to get, where I was like, oh, I feel amazing. And I was like, I kind of feel like shit.
Right.
Sorry.
No, absolutely.
Okay,
You can swear on here.
right. But also just really, we actually dug back into something that was a innate childhood memory.
Mhm.
So I grew up in Brown Deer, Wisconsin. Well, I shouldn't say, I was born in Brown Deer, Wisconsin. And we had this house, and next to our house with like a shared side yard was this woman who babysat me, and then her two sons, Danny and David, who were both older than me. And I have memories. Like I feel like I don't have a lot of memories from those like early years, maybe 10 and under. But I remember playing with like micro machines with them, and out in the yard making like snow forts and playing snowball fights. And they're brothers, right? So they're fighting like who gets the other kid to help out me,
Right.
and everything else. But I have those memories. And then my dad was a Mason, and my parents were fortunate enough financially to be able to move from Brown Deer, which was kind of becoming a little run down and everything else, to a much more rural and then better school system. So we moved to Slinger. It was about an hour or so away. Beautiful brand new house my parents built. 8 acres of land, just awesome, right? I had my own room. I had my own closet. I had like this walkout porch. We got a dog because we had all the space. But I realized that the big brothers that I essentially had, I no longer had. And I was the only child. And so, yeah. Well, I mean,
we know where this is going.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so for years, I've had people tell me when you're in a setting with people, you tend to act older than you actually are. Like I wouldn't pin you at, and like all along the years, like wouldn't pin you at 25, I'd pin you more like 30 or now I'm 40. So my why, what I end up making it as, is to lead like a big brother so that people find the courage to believe in themselves. And that's why I felt this pull to open up a gym well before I had outwardly stated I was going to open up a gym.
Yeah.
Like I stated 35 years old. I opened up a gym at 27. Building a staff when I didn't really know, but I knew that I needed someone to help grow it, and I needed to like lead them.
Yeah.
I get super excited about people seeing their own potential, like in training, in coaching my girls softball. I just did a speed clinic last night, and seeing girls literally get better at a drill from one to the next, I get so jazzed up.
Same.
And not because I want validation that like what I'm teaching them works, because it's so exciting for me to have people see themselves get better and like recognize that's confidence. Right? That is the understanding that, well, if I can get better in this, then why can't I? I'm not the slow kid. I'm not the fat kid. I'm not the weak kid or the weak woman or whatever it might be. Part of that too, like the courage piece for me, is in high school and college. Like I went with the crowd and like I drank, I smoked, I did things like that I look back on, and I still dabble in drinking here and there, but I've kind of given it up because I realized like it wasn't fulfilling me at all. And it was kind of this like not having the courage in my own beliefs to stand up and to say, hey, I'll happily go out and hang out with you all and socialize. I love that.
Yeah.
I love hanging out, but like, I don't need to drink while you drink. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right. And nothing against you doing it. But the reality is that's what I stand for. Yeah. And so helping people understand like, hey, believe in yourself, believe in what you value. And if that means that you say no to drinks, or you say no to dessert, or whatever the thing is, or say no to staying out later because you know that sleep is important to you for being up with your kids in the morning, or, whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
By example, but also just by demonstration and discussion and talking about it. That's the stuff that brings excitement to my life, makes me feel passionate. And that's what has kind of led to all the steps of, I own a gym. Now I've got a gym where I feel like I can really let it run itself.
Yeah.
And then
not there yet.
Extend. Well, hey, like I said, like we flip flop, right? Like
right.
You've been doing that.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting into that. Now we're But the idea that okay, now I can start to expand my influence and impact.
Yes.
But honestly, a part of it too is like taking the time to work on myself, because nobody's going to do that for you.
Yep.
And nobody tells you that you need to do it. Like at 20, I was just having this conversation, literally like at 27 years old, that's probably what I should have been doing. But instead I was figuring out my core values for our gym.
Yeah.
Because that's what I needed to do for the business.
Right.
But now I'm starting to figure those things out and going, like a lot of things, right? I wish I knew that.
Oh my gosh, for real.
When I was whatever age. But that's the kind of stuff that going, okay, now you look back on the things that you've done, or the things that were in some way, shape, or form done to you. And you go, okay, that makes sense. I get kind of why I'm where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. There's so many things I'm like, I want to come back to that and come back to that. One of the things when you talk about seeing this in someone else, and what I love about your story is just following your intuition and not even realizing that you were, in a way, kind of giving yourself what maybe you always needed, like that big brother, like that meant something to you. And whether it took you this long to truly identify that and pinpoint it, it's like, oh my gosh, that was always there. And what a core memory. Have you seen the movie Inside Out?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And two.
Yeah, and two. It's so good. It's so good. But that's kind of what I think about. That is such a core memory. And if we were all to kind of think back to some aspect of our life and how that is actually shaping our choices, whether in a positive way or in a negative way, it's important to be able to look at that kind of stuff, but to see that influence. And I love when you talk about making those choices for yourself. And I just did the podcast last week about how we dim our own light. On the surface, thinking it's because you don't want to make other people uncomfortable. Like, well, I'll just drink because I don't want to make them uncomfortable that they're drinking. Wait a second. Is that really what it's about? Or is it about your fear of rejection? And that if you don't drink, this group is eventually going to reject you. And then that's going to trigger this childhood wound from, whatever. It's like
belonging and whatever.
Yeah. It's so much deeper than that stuff. And so you're right. When you can actually see that within someone, see their potential, you're going so far beyond the person sitting in front of you. And to me, you're actually seeing maybe their inner child of like being that big brother.
Yeah.
Like, I see you and I want to support you. I want to help you, because there are so many kids who didn't get that. They didn't have that parent. Maybe they were working, no fault to the parent.
No.
But if they were working all the time to provide, they might not have been able to coach them in baseball. They might not have had that guidance or someone to say, hey, you can do this.
Yeah.
So I think about that too with training. Like when you see someone and you're just like, you totally got this. Like, no, I don't. Like, yes, you do. And then you see them do it and they're just like, it's the best feeling in the world.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And again, not because it's self-fulfilling.
Yes.
But because you're helping somebody else see that in themselves. Right. And that's a core belief of mine. I mean, when you think about the human body and what we know about it, or what we know about it right now. I mean, we try and dissect the differences between the central nervous system and the autonomic nervous system and the enteric nervous system and the gut, right? The gut is this new thing where it's like, there's all these bacteria in our body and there's trillions of them. And people are like, trillions?
Yeah.
It's like, but then you think about the fact as we try and dissect in these individual on a regular basis, literally right now, all of those nervous systems are working together.
Yeah.
Like,
right. It's
right.
Yeah. When we're just sitting here, like all of that is happening.
Yeah. And so to me, I have a flywheel that I've created that's built around this idea of a flywheel is essentially this huge cumbersome wheel that is borderline impossible to move. And so you start and you just kind of push and you're just grinding on it and grinding on it and grinding on it.
Yeah.
And then you start to create momentum with it. And then slowly but surely it gets faster. And then it gets faster. But because it's so big and heavy, as it keeps going faster and faster, you start to get to a point where this exponential thing happens. And all of a sudden it goes so fast that now it pretty much can't be stopped. And that flywheel that I have is built on 3 levers: motivation, discipline, and reflection.
Yeah.
And those are all in of themselves huge topics. I'm talking about,
Yeah.
I've got a breakout session for a Women in Realty event in a week, actually. I'm speaking about one of those 3 levers. Because I mean, that's
exactly
for 45 minutes, even that's like a little bit tight. But the whole idea behind it, when I get somebody in a coaching opportunity, it's like, we literally are superhuman. We have superhuman potential right now inside of us.
Yeah.
Because if we go back to the mind-blowing thing, that's every one of us. And we know what we do know neurologically is that we are constantly restricting our capacity because we're energy sabers. That's what we're built to be. We're not built to exert and expend. We're exert to save and store. And so if we have this potential just sitting there because we're innately built that way, and we can consciously overcome that because we are human beings, then we can create an environment where we can achieve at superhuman levels. And it's not that complicated, but it takes motivation, discipline, reflection. And so for me, it was me understanding what we've been doing with training for years and what I've been doing, or when people say like, I love it when you coach me. And you try and figure out like, well, what am I doing different than the coach that that I've hired or whatever else? And I'm lucky to have an amazing team now that they get it. They do it their own way. Because they have to. You can't be replicas of each other. But they're doing it in the same way. They're getting the same kinds of effects out of clients. But it was like, how can I take that on a more grandiose scale? And think about it and go, yes, does everyone probably need to be in better shape? Yeah. I mean, we can sit and argue for that all day long, right? But are there other things people are working on? I want to be better at communication. I want to be able to be better at being present. I want to be better at being skilled enough to be recognized at my job to get that promotion that does matter to me. It does have some self-fulfilling nature to it. All those things can be put into that same infrastructure and go, cool. So what does that look like specifically for you with this specific skill? And so that for me was one of those like, oh, and it's taken time to put the pieces together. But this idea of belief in yourself and even belief in a self that's far greater than what you currently are, while also realizing that you don't need to change. It already exists. It's already inside you.
Yes.
Right?
So you gotta like chip away at what isn't you and all of the coping strategies and all of the mechanisms that all the roles we've played, all of the stuff. It's not actually who we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. So then it's like, if you can get somebody to understand that, and also like it's one thing to get somebody to like, oh yeah, I get that.
Right.
But man, if they figure it out through like the tools you provide them and the guidance you give them, like, oh man, you talk about not validation for what I do, but it's like validation that like, yes, I can help somebody in that respect. It's like, I don't want to be doing any other job than that.
Right. When you can get someone to actually see that, like this is all within yourself, because otherwise we try to outsource everything. And yes, maybe you need a personal trainer, maybe you need a coach and all those things to help bring that out in you. But when you realize like, like it just creates this whole other avenue of energy and resource and confidence to go within and explore instead of always searching outside of ourselves for the answer. Because I played that game for years. I was like, what, next thing I could find.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, that is commerce, right? I mean, like their advertising and marketing is built on that.
Yeah, I was a
like,
sucker.
what can we tell her that she's terrible at that makes her want to buy this thing?
Yep.
Like,
I did it all. I had the stair steppers. I mean, you name it. I had like, oh, that'll magically solve all my problems.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Late night purchases.
Oh.
Well, now, I mean, now Amazon too is like, and which also, by the way, the flywheel concept, I was actually introduced to that idea by Vortex Optics.
Oh, yeah.
So Vortex, kind of locally here. And it was fascinating to me. And then, but that's actually originally came from a book that I read a long time ago and I kind of had forgotten about, Jim Collins, Good to Great.
Yeah.
So it's his concept in that book. And that's where people have taken that from. But Amazon used the flywheel concept.
There you go.
And I was at this conference, and it's funny. I want to talk to this guy too because he's using it for a new book he's writing, and it's essentially the process of taking somebody from wanting to join your gym in this case because he's fitness business guru to like them engaging in them like wanting to promote it, like referrals and reviews and that kind of stuff. But it's a flywheel effect, and he was explaining it and the whole concept of it. But when he talked about Amazon, he's like, who here thinks Amazon's website is really attractive? And everyone's like, no. He's like, but in the last 2 days, have you bought something from Amazon? And everyone's like, yeah. He's like, so why is that? And then that was the whole, but it's really interesting.
Wow. So walk us through a little bit of the journey of what inspired you to even open a gym, because obviously, again, whether you have this insight now into where this was really coming from, but what was it about you then, or even growing up, that built that fire within and to get to where you are now? Because obviously you could see it as just this fitness thing and I want to help people get healthy, but now it's obviously transformed where you're like, holy crap, this is so much more. And it can't just be fitness because you can see how it translates into other areas of your life.
Yeah. How much time do we got?
Yeah, I know. Part 2.
All right. So I'll try and there's like 3 stories that I figured out or kind of tied together that occurred not in succession at all, but sort of that drove me to that point. When I was 12 years old. So the backstory of this is my father had 8 siblings. And I say had because they're all passed away. Minus him, he's 74, 6, somewhere in that range now.
Which is like young.
Yeah, I mean, comparatively, right?
Right.
And so Markowitz, the Markowitzes, the assumption is like, hey, we've got a short life to live, right? And as a young kid, even I was like, I don't really think I want to believe in this.
Good.
And so at 12, I made the decision to stop drinking soda.
Wow.
Yeah. And I drank a lot of Mountain Dew, and it was like, I'm just not going to drink soda anymore. And that was kind of my first foray into having the courage to be unique, right? Certainly a middle school age.
Yeah.
I mean,
what's wrong with you?
People go to everybody's house and drink cases of Mountain Dew and
the
play video
leaders.
games. Right. Yeah. That's what happens,
That's
right?
what happens.
So that was the first foray. And honestly, I haven't to this day. I mean, I drink sparkling water, but I really never drank soda to any.
At 12.
Yeah, at 12. And like, it's such a weird thing. And I think back to it and I go, huh.
Especially at that age.
Pretty,
like, I can see like my daughter, as she'll be 12. I can see, not that she would probably do that, but at that age, like, it was just not something that was talked about really, or that it was like this, bad thing or whatever. But interesting. Huh.
So I've always said, like, I'm weird. I tell my girls all the time, like, it's okay. Like, I'm weird. You're weird. We're all weird.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're not interesting, right? So, like, 100%, be weird.
Yes.
Like, that's like my first story. Like, this is when I first realized I was weird, when I stopped drinking soda at age 12.
I literally just put "let's get weird" in my stories today because it was about like the rest of 2025. I was like, it's gonna get weird. And I'm like, let's get weird.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm weird. So then I worked for Gold's Gym, and that was my first real opportunity to take a kinesiology degree from UW and turn it into a full-time job. Yeah. And I loved it because I was literally, and again, people weird go like, you were one-on-one training 40 to 48 sessions a week. And I'm like, yep, I loved every minute of it. Wow. Because it was what we talked about, right?
Yeah.
It was the influence. It was seeing people recognize their own potential and celebrating that. It was just like it. You go home and you're like, you're not tired from that,
right?
Like
that just fills you up. Yeah,
absolutely. But in like a week period, I had a client who was a longstanding client of mine and was in this incredible transformation journey. I mean, like, he literally went from the overweight, obese computer programmer to, in his mind, he wanted to be a shorter version of Hugh Jackman.
Oh, wow.
I mean, and look at all the rest. Like at one point, he got his hair kind of cut, like
wow.
style. Like he got jacked, like so jacked. It was awesome.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, right. But we were in a new program. He was doing an exercise, and he like tripped over his own feet, and he landed on the ground, and the fixed barbell that we had him using landed on his forearm and like shattered his forearm.
Oh.
So he's like laying in the middle of the gym floor, and he tried to get up, and he went into shock and like passed out in my arms, right? So ambulance came, right? Whatever else. And that was traumatic, right? And we figured things out from there. Yeah. Then a week later, I had a client, and older client, in his 60s, really healthy, cross-country ski, did all this stuff. And we were upstairs. It was the last session that he was gonna do, and doing like ladder drills because he liked doing the speed ladder. And he kind of tripped over his own feet and he fell over. I'm like, Heinz, are you okay? And then all of a sudden he like started coughing and his face turned blue. And so I started doing CPR immediately, and no one, because it's a commercial gym, like no one's paying attention, right? So this guy's laying on the floor. I just happened to be able to see somebody down who was a client of mine who was a nurse, and like flagged her down, like get the AED, get up here. But paramedics came. It took them a while just to get him stable enough to get him into the ambulance. And then he crashed again on the way to the hospital. So I went to lunch that day with a good friend of mine who worked out at the gym, and she may have been there or was like coming in maybe after his session to work out with me. And then my GM. We were sitting down at Great Dane having lunch, and talking through this stuff. And it's like, okay, either someone from above is saying, get out of this industry, or you are doing the exact thing you need to be doing, and you should keep doing this for the rest of your life.
Oof.
And that's when I had to kind of, like, in my mind, I had to kind of make a choice.
Yeah.
Right. And I made the choice of, I'm going to do this. Like,
really do this.
Yeah. This is what I'm doing. And so, and that's, that's what it went from. I was probably 25 to change, not change, but to kind of alter the course of where I was going from. 10 years from now, I'm going to open up a gym to at 27.
It's go time.
We opened up Fit stores.
Wow.
Yeah. And like a block and a half from Golds. My wife, girlfriend, maybe fiance at the time. She's more risk averse than I am, which she's not an entrepreneur, so I get it. But she's like, "Does it really have to be this close?" I'm
Right.
like, Emily, I see the space and I see the gym I want. I'm not seeing it anywhere else. This is the space, and we've been there for 13 years.
Whoa,
So,
I love that.
Yeah.
Girl, are people hearing this? Like, just trusting your intuition, listening to those signs and sitting with those messages and like, what are you asking of me? Where am I supposed to go with this? And taking a huge leap, a huge risk.
Yeah.
13 years later.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Whereas you could have seen it as like, people are dropping like flies. Like, apparently I'm not supposed to be here.
Right.
Which a lot of people could see when things are starting to go wrong. What am I doing wrong? That may not be it. It may be like, go deeper into your calling.
Yeah.
How can you actually help on a deeper level, a more impactful level than,
Yeah.
so good.
So here's a follow up to that. So Heinz was his name, and his wife's name was Lynn. And she was mad at me, like initially, because naturally you think the trainer like overexerted him, right? He had a heart attack. And I still have the card from her that I got from her when he actually passed away. So he passed away probably another 7 months afterwards. And she, it's gonna be like a little hard. So basically the card said, I forgive you.
Ooh.
Thank you for doing what you did, because the doctors, I'm guessing, said that because he got CPR immediately, essentially saved his brain function. So he was Heinz again after a pacemaker was put in. They found that he had a congenital heart defect. So that was what caused a heart attack the first time, because again, he was totally healthy. And so essentially in the card, she said, thank you for giving me 6 more months of Heinz before he eventually passed away from the same heart issue. Yeah. So, but that was a validation in a short term of like, it wasn't my fault. Right. But it's that kind of stuff where if I hadn't, like, it's all the things, right? It's like, why do you do first aid CPR training? Why do you do AED training? Why do I have a mom who's a nurse, right? And even why am I who I am? Because people freeze up in those situations, and I
Oh
didn't.
yeah, 100%.
Right. And so why all those things? Well, like if that's what my talents are, I can't sit in a freaking desk and push papers and write code or shit like that. Like come on.
But that's
Like
safe.
that's silly.
That's
Yeah,
safe.
I know.
That's
Well,
stable.
yeah,
That's all
yeah.
the things that people say to justify why I'm still here, even though I know this isn't my calling. I know this isn't my purpose. I know I have this desire to do something else. I know I have these ideas and this longing, but I'm not doing anything about it.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. And to think about that on such a deeper level of like, why do we do CPR? It was like, I just helped give this man 7 more months of his life. That's why. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You like find again the deeper meaning behind all of this. And then going back to the beginning of our conversation, that connection, even just with our kids, if we are so checked out of our lives, like it is just flying by and passing us by. And we're missing out on those moments to connect because we're not doing the things that are actually fulfilling us.
Mm.
And to numb that pain, we're scrolling. We're doing all of these things that are literally checking us out of our own lives because it's like we don't want to be in it. We're not engaged. We're not fueling our soul.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I love strength training, those types of things so much, is because it can start there where you get that little spark, like, I can do this. And then you can start to see how that trickles over into other areas of your life.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, just get in the gym, just get started, because there's so many life metaphors. Like just the other day, we were talking about getting to failure. I'm like, I want you to get to failure. We celebrate that here, and we should celebrate that in other areas of our life because it means you're freaking trying.
Yeah.
And you found out maybe what didn't work, or maybe you found a limit. Now you can set a new goal. Like, it's so good. Like, but back to childhood wounds, like, ooh, that fear of failure. Nope, can't do that. We won't even try.
Yep. I was listening to a lecture and kind of came up with this phrase. So fail and learn, succeed and win, but neither of those happen if you don't try.
Totally.
You know? And so it's like at the core level of it is just try, just take action. Stop planning, stop putting all these good ideas and good intentions in place. Just do something in any aspect.
Yep.
And man, I mean, like if that's like if the world shifted to more action taking, it's like, whew.
Yeah. Well, we don't even realize when we think about going into fight, flight, freeze, like all of those things, how much we do that to ourselves on a daily basis.
Oh, without question.
Yeah. We just procrastinate. And again, when you can get to the root of like, why am I doing that? Because there's maybe a fear of success, or a fear of failure, but fear of success is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because what if I get there and I can't maintain it? Or what if I get there and it's wild, but it's real, and it can cause this analysis paralysis, or we're sitting on all of these ideas, afraid to put that out there, again, thinking like, well, what if it doesn't work? Or what if people judge me? I got to get to the root of why that fear is paralyzing you or keeping you stuck.
Well, and I think that it's one of those things where, like we were kind of saying, you have to put the work in because nobody else is going to do it for you.
No.
And the reality is it's a kind of a brutal statement, but like no one cares about you. Everyone cares about themselves. We are built to be selfish, like self-preservation. So if that's the case, we can't wait for somebody to come along and say, "Let me help you with this." And one of the things that I've really leaned into hard this last year is meditation. And what's been really cool about meditation, and the app I'm using is called Healthy Minds. It's actually Richie Davidson. So he's a professor here at UW. And the app is incredible because it's educational and it's meditations. But what's mentioned over and over and over again, even talked about in some of the education, is the goal here isn't to be perfect at meditating.
Right. The
goal here is to do it and recognize that, like, oh, my thoughts have drifted away.
Yeah.
I should probably bring them back a little bit now. Right. And at no point is that a bad thing.
Right.
And so as you go through that process, it bleeds into other aspects of your life. And you go, hey, I'm trying to get better at engaging with my kids after work is done. Yeah. And did I check some emails? Yeah. But I spent 30, 45 minutes with my kids and we did something fun that they're talking about when they go to bed. So that was a win, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you could easily look at that, and we as humans do, as like, but like I was on my phone checking emails.
Right.
It's like, yeah, but.
Well, and that's just it. Like with kids, and again, I think the same thing with our inner child. It doesn't need you to tend to it 24/7 and give it all this suffocating attention. It's like, you just got to check in with me and give some intentional time. So meditation is like, hey, I want to connect with you. And whether that's, your higher power, but for me, it's both, but it's also my inner child. And I go to the gym in the morning. That's me reparenting. That's say, I got you first thing in the morning. You are the most important thing. I want to check in with you. I want to make sure you are feeling good to start your day.
Did you say reparenting?
Yes.
Love that. Love that.
Yes. But I think about that. And I actually, even yesterday, I put in my stories of like an example, and I just did this. This is just like you said, with that wheel starts spinning, and it's just, you just do. Like it feels, it's cool to be in that place, but I was in that place where I was pushing that freaking boulder for years.
I mean, like,
most of my life.
That's the whole idea, right?
Yeah.
Is like, this is what happens.
Right.
Success isn't just
yes. And that's where I want
years of that
conversations like this, because I don't want people to see me like, well, it must be easy for you too. Like, no.
Yeah.
But I thought about it, going into training, and I thought about my day, and I was like, here are some examples of how I tended to me and poured into me so then I could pour into others.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the gym at 4 a.m., got my lift in, because then I had to coach 4 classes.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would have waited to do mine, I guarantee you I would have been agitated, and I'd be like, well, must be nice that all these people get to work out and I don't. Like that inner child throwing that tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, nope, I want to tend to me first. And then I had that morning break, knowing that my kids are going to come home from school. I've been tending to people all morning. Like, you know what, Tami, you need to check in with yourself. So I'm like, I'm going to go sit in the sauna, just me, some music, and then could be full on parenting. And it was just like, like, and it just kind of happened because you slowly but surely realize like how important it is to just check in with ourselves and just tend to ourselves.
Yeah.
But what was cool when you talk about the kid thing at night, when I had this example, and not every night looks like this, but last night was a perfect example of what you just said. Is I had a little bit of work to do, and Arla wanted to go out and play baseball. And so like I got a little bit done what I needed to do, went and played baseball, and we just had a blast. But I didn't need to spend the entire night with him. Like, he got to do his thing, he got to chill. But then it was just that really intentional time where it was just me and him. We were connecting, we were listening, we were laughing, and then when I came back, I said, I'm like, Arla, like, I had so much fun with you tonight. I'm like, my love cup is filled. And then he goes, let me check my love cup. He goes, yep, mine is overfull too. And I'm like,
that's cool.
And it was just that little bit, but it was like we both kind of did what we needed to do, but it's that intentional time is so key.
And what I love about what you just said, because we have the same kind of experiences with my girls and softball, because that's more their thing.
Yeah.
But what I love about that is, in many ways, that's different than spending time together, like watching TV.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're really connecting.
Well, and I think what's really important is you start to build, I mean, kids, there's so many things that are just hammering them into the ground and hammering their confidence into the ground. And when you go out, and I'll give you this example because it's a similar thing with my daughters. So I've got Bryn and I've got Natalie. Bryn is my grinder. She's like my mini me. So her and I sometimes, and Emily's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I gotta fix this, because it's me fixing me basically at this point.
Not funny.
Yeah. And then Natalie's my softer spoken, super sweet, but she just sometimes does things and she just will not stop, and she is just but Bryn grinds, but she's gonna talk about it.
Yeah. And
Bryn's my pitcher, and so Bryn, we've been working on this for the last year a lot, and it's more on her than me. I facilitate, I never force. We go out there and we pitch. And so Nellie wanted to come too, but she didn't really want to catch because she wants to catch. And so fine, take some balls over there and just hit. And she probably can't communicate this to me yet because she's not going to get it. But there was a number of opportunities where, like, she's throwing the ball up and hitting it. Right. And if you did that as a kid and you do that as an adult, it's like, that's pretty easy. But when you're learning that, you forget like how bad you were at it.
Oh my God. I did that last night and I'm totally biffed it.
Yeah. and she's 9 and just kind of figuring it out, right?
Yeah.
And so she's doing it, and she's missing a bunch, and I'm just watching and observing.
Yeah.
But then she hammered a couple, and I stopped Brandon. I was like, Natalie, that was an awesome hit. And those opportunities don't happen when you're watching a show on the couch.
Yeah.
And again, can she communicate what that means to her right now? Probably not. But I know that there's some level of confidence in that girl who is so powerful and so capable, but she has a hard time believing in herself that she is. And in certain things, and it's like physical things, she has done some unbelievable physical things with no prompting, just like, Dad, I'm going to hang on this monkey bar for 5 minutes. And then she did. And I'm just like,
what?
And then she, like a week later, she's like, Dad, I'm going to hang on for 6 minutes. And so just give me every 30 seconds. I'm like, okay. And she did. And I'm just like, what?
What?
But she doesn't recognize that yet.
Yeah.
And she will at some point, but along the way, to see the opportunities and then validate those things is like, that's what she needs, whether she realizes it or not, you know? But that opportunity would have never happened,
right,
if we didn't go out and do what we did.
I'm like having a moment here right now. Just like, oh my gosh, it just translates into so many amazing things. Because you're right, you wouldn't have that opportunity if you're just doing the everyday. But the same thing, think about it as an adult or someone who you have these gifts, but you're not in an environment, you're not around people that can actually see that in you and pull it out in you, because it just might be what you're naturally really good at. You don't see that, like, whoa, that's incredible what you just did. And they're like, what's the big deal? I can hang on this all day. Like, no. And for someone, they kind of almost like sit back a little bit like, oh, maybe there is something special about me. Maybe there is but you don't have people in your life that are doing that. Yeah, you kind of get stuck. But you think about as an adult, when we think about our work environments or the people we hang around with, are they doing that for you to be like, whoa, I just noticed what you did there? And so much of coaching or training is seeing that and noticing. But if we can do that as parents, to notice those moments like, hey, I saw what you did there. Because basic childhood need, everyone wants to be seen.
Yeah.
They want to be heard. They want to be valued. But just truly seeing someone and seeing your kid and stopping what you're doing to be like, hey, that right there is going to speak volumes.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's more of just me going like, well, that was awesome. I want to make sure that she knows that. And it just, and again, it's almost like in many ways it is self-fulfilling for me, because I'm going, I saw that. I want her to know I saw that. And I'm going to make sure that she's aware.
So that makes me wonder, was there a part of you growing up that wanted to be seen?
Oh, without question. Without question.
That's why you're really good at it.
Yeah, well, that's the big brother piece too, is that so when I lost those big brothers, that's another piece that I realized. I have this resentment towards my father. Well, I shouldn't say. I do. I'm working on forgiving him.
Yeah.
But I definitely do, because I knew that when I built my business, I wanted to be able to provide for my family the way that he did. He was a mason. And I mean, if you can imagine an artist with rock and stone, that's my father. He built fieldstone walls in our yard at this house that I'm talking about that they still live at. Literally, these fieldstone walls are probably 2 to 3 feet high. It's all fieldstone that was dug up from digging our foundation from our house. And he just literally would take bucket loads of them, dump them in a pile, and he would just look at them and spin them around and create these. So all these fieldstone walls that we have all over our yard have 0 concrete, 0 mortar, 0 sand, nothing holding them together. It's just him.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Mind blowing. He would never like grasp that, even no matter, like I said, you're an artist, Dad, like a really good artist with masonry.
No, I'm just
yeah. But he provided for our family financially.
Yes.
But because of his work, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So he created he gave me a basketball hoop, bought me golf clubs. He created this place to like a brick thing to like throw strikes to on our wall, like outside. But like it was me and my dog. Yeah. And it wasn't him. And so the big brother that I could have had with him got lost. So I wanted to build a business that provided for my family financially the same way that he was able to.
And
which gave me the freedom also to be able to be present with my daughters and coach them in softball, which this last year I coached Bryn's travel team, and then the girls both played rec softball. And I have a good friend who he coaches his daughter, and then he ended up coaching the boys team for this school because he didn't really have a coach. And we were talking about this, like, I got so much fulfillment out of that coaching because it was the first time in 13 years that I didn't go into that environment or that situation thinking like, I need to turn this into a business transaction.
Right.
It was solely for the purpose of getting, and the cool thing was, it wasn't about getting my daughters better and spending time with them. It was, but it was also all the other kids too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, now I've got like, we had a speed clinic last night, and one of the girls who I coached in the rec team was like across the field in the cages. And she saw me and she was like, hey, like that's the kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Where it's like, okay, I made a difference. But because I was able to be there.
Yep.
Right. I had the ability, the gym was running, the business was going as it needed to. The people that I care about, that I've helped facilitate their role in our gym, are taking care of our people. And then I can go and do that.
Because you don't get that time back. And you can see again how not having that present parent to truly see you, how that impacted you. But I mean, now you can see, I was like, oh wow, that was always part of my story, because look at what I'm doing now.
Or why am I doing this?
Yeah,
right. Like why did I make this choice? But yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But taking that and finding the gift in it. And that's so much of what this podcast is about. How do you find the gift in that painful package? Because you look back at that and like, as you're talking, like, the emotions coming up, because I just imagine this little boy out there like playing all by himself, but how many kids are in that situation? And I actually just did a whole podcast on exploring my father wound, because very similar. He worked 2 jobs, but was also going through an emotionally tough time. And even though I have an amazing relationship with my dad now, I'm like, there was still this stuff coming up in my adult life. I'm like, this is classic father wound stuff. It doesn't make sense. But then I'm like, oh, this isn't about now. There's this little girl that's still like, hey, and it was showing up in relationships. It was showing up in other areas of my life. I'm like, I got to tend to that little girl.
Yeah.
But you're right. My ability to really see people and understand them and be there for them emotionally comes from the fact that I maybe didn't have that. And you can think about aspects of that in your life. Like, what did I miss in my childhood? And how can oftentimes we'll give it to our kids, but at some point your inner child's gonna be like, yo, I'm still here. You can't forget about me. And that will show up in your life. And that's where that tantrum kind of comes out, where everything can be going right, but eventually your inner child's like, you can't forget about me. I love that you're doing all these things for your kids and you're giving them a different life, but we got to tend to me. And that's where like, okay, now maybe I need to go to the gym and take care of myself.
Yeah.
Knowing that is going to then help me take care of my kids. But we often do that last or not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm not a female.
Correct.
and I'm speaking at this event. It was September 18th, but I'm also we're doing a co-event October 1st. We're calling it Strong for Life, the Blueprint. It is with the 2 doctors that are the physicians at Roots MD out in Verona.
Yes.
Yeah. And their primary target is essentially women in like the premenopause, menopause, postmenopause.
Hey.
Right? Okay. And I've used this term before. And so my question to you, I'll get to like how I'm setting it up and framing it. Healthy selfishness. Like I've used that term and I feel like it hasn't really clicked. So my question to you is, when you're talking with other women, obviously it helps that you're an example as a female too, I think, compared to a male who like sometimes there's a disconnect there of like, well, you can do this because of X, Y, Z. It's fine. I get that.
You can have a whole podcast.
Validate that. But my question is, like, how do you speak to those women to help them move the needle on taking time for themselves? Because I feel like generally in that time frame of someone's life, and let's just say it's 40 to 60, for most women, they're in a place where the needs of their children are able to be met without them having to be present 24/7. Like they've gotten past that infancy stage and all the really like heavy maternal stuff. So it's like, okay, now you have this time, like take it for yourself. But how do you explain that in a way where women go, you're right?
Yeah. Well, one is you think about how often for most of their life they were putting themselves last, and like, this is your time, but you can say that all day long.
Right.
But when it is ingrained in their childhood experience, when they saw their parent or like it's deep. So even though you can know these things logically, these women, it's not a knowledge problem that we need to put ourselves first.
No,
We've heard it a million times and that self-care isn't selfish. And we can hear those things, but when it feels like it's programmed in you and conditioned in you, there is like this response where it's like you go into that fight, flight, or freeze almost like because it's triggering something in you. Whereas like, well, if I do this, then I'm not going to feel seen or valued because I always had to be the older sister who did everything in my family. And so now if I do something for myself, like this runs deep for people.
Yeah.
So that's where I take it all the way back to the inner child perspective. Like, what did that little girl within you need?
Yeah.
Someone to say like, I need you to take care of me. Well, guess what? You're that adult now.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, you're still parenting. And if that's where you identify your role, like now you need to reparent that little girl within
when you
you.
said that word like reparenting, I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Like now, like she needs you because that's where there's this disconnect as we feel like we're still abandoning ourselves. Now what's worse is you have the time, you have the resources and you're still not doing it. So now your inner child's like, are you freaking serious right now?
Yeah.
When is it going to be about us?
Yeah.
So almost like to me, I have to take my adult self out of it. And like, I have to tend to that little girl.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, I'm abandoning her. And that is the worst form of abandonment is when we do it to ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But same thing. Like I know this and I think we all do. But when you really think about it, if you are not tending to yourself, how are you honestly showing up for other people in your life? You tend to get bitter. You get resentful. You get short. If I don't work out in the morning, I know like I'm more irritable with my kids and I don't want to be that way with them. They don't deserve that version of me.
Yeah.
So now we know like, hey, mom tends to herself. She's a better mom.
Yeah.
And I can show up because my inner child isn't going to throw a tantrum later because I've already tended to her.
Right.
So it's just a matter of like reframing that in a sense where it registers on a different level for them. Because you're right. Like sometimes those phrases, like we know them, we've heard them, but when it's deeply programmed to your subconscious, like good luck.
Well, and that's the thing, what you're saying, I think it's totally spot on. And it's just that understanding of getting over that hurdle.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what I think is the biggest challenge that this cohort of women, because, you know, the way I'm being brought in for this event is like Dr. Kuhl and Dr. Primusberger, they're talking about preventative healthcare through strength.
Yeah.
You know, all these things, and they're going to literally go through this plus this plus this plus this plus this. All these disorders, diseases that are onset age related type things can all be improved with preventative care, i.e. strength training. Because then the question that they're getting asked is, so how do I get started? Yeah. And I want to provide the tangible solutions of this is what you should be doing. Yeah. But I think there's a piece of the message that has to be, and also, you have all this information and you probably have heard it before. Yeah. So you need to ask yourself, why haven't you taken action? Yes. And that's where it comes back to like my motivation piece. Because the motivation piece to me is what you talked about. It's like, it's getting away from the extrinsic. Yes. The things that the world wants us to value. Yep. Appearance, social status, you know, whatever those things might be, the superficial things. Yep. Stuff. Yep. I have stuff.
Well, you had a basketball hoop and all the cool stuff as a kid, but
but it's the figuring out how to move that continuum towards the intrinsic, towards the why does this matter to me specifically? Yeah. And not even, you know, because again, and I've seen this with moms because again, I've been doing evaluations for 13 plus years in our gym. And a part of our conversation always comes to what's your long-term goal and short-term goal here? Because the answer typically is, I want to lose weight. I want to get toned. I want to get stronger. And it's like, cool. Yeah. But what does that mean for you?
How does that change?
Like, what does that mean for you specifically?
Yeah.
What is that going to allow you to do? Right?
We have another moment.
but that's the stuff that I think I need to pose to these women also. Well, I mean, to the group, like we're not, the workshop is meant to be for all genders, but we ultimately talked about like, without saying we want women between the ages of 45 and 65, we need to spin our marketing message so that we're saying, this is what we want in this workshop. And And I want to tell them that you know this stuff already. I'm going to tell you it and you're going to write it down and I can give you all the resources that you want. But there's the action piece of it.
Yeah.
And how do I help you overcome that piece of it? Because progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need you to be perfect tomorrow. And ultimately, if you haven't done anything, if you try and be, you are screwed. You're screwed. Like, you're going to be so sore and so miserable and you're never going to want to do it again. Strength training, movement training is fun.
Yeah.
Moving your body and feeling good doing it is fun, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
You don't get to working out 4 days a week and doing different splits of body parts and stuff like that immediately.
Right.
Just doing something.
Yeah.
But it's that doing something. And again, it's that pushing the flywheel when it's barely moving. That's how I'm hoping to impact.
Yeah.
Right. Is to get more people to buy into that fact of like, I just got to keep doing. I got to keep trying.
Yes.
Just got to keep trying.
Yeah. Well, and as you were saying that just now, and I was having another like moment, is this all comes for so many women, this comes down to worthiness. Because you can say like, I want to lose weight. I want to fit into these clothes. I want all of these extrinsic things. And really, if you get to the root of it, I want to feel worthy. But we think, and I'm speaking of this because this was me for so long. If I lost weight, if I did X, Y, or Z,
I'm now going to be worthy.
Yeah. But you will continue, and I've said this, and all my regular listeners are like, we know what she's going to say. You'll continue to get the test until you learn the lesson is that you were always worthy.
Yeah.
It was never defined on, when you talk about progress or perfection, these women are like, I need to be perfect. Like, so many of them have had that in their head because maybe they were trying to get their dad's attention. The only way they did was to be the overachiever. And it's like, so to show up to the gym and not be perfect at it? Oh, no. But it's like, no, you are worthy of showing up regardless. You're worthy of showing up and failing miserably. You're worthy of, because you're just worthy. But if you continue to think you're only going to be worthy if you lose these 20 pounds or if you get this job or whatever, you will continue to get all of these tests until you learn that you just always were.
Yeah.
But you're, worthy of being able to take care of yourself. Like that's deep, man. And when they get that, that's a game changer.
Well,
that's when that wheel just.
Yeah. Well, and when that happens, it's like, and for us, it's those things where people are like, yeah, some guy wanted to help me carry the hockey equipment in for my kid from the car. And I'm like, no, I got it in 3 bags and just off my shoulders and off I go. It's like, that's why I strength train. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, that's why you strength train.
Yeah.
Right. Like but that's the kind of stuff that it does, right? Like that's the momentum builder that keeps the thing going. It's just because that's the reflection piece for me too. It's helping people have the tools and the willpower essentially to on a very regular basis.
Yeah.
Like look at their day and go, man, where did I have good effort today? Where did I have successes? Where did I make progress? That they're always, and this is a concept from Dr. Nate Zinsser, but like putting positive deposits in that mental bank account so that when you need to call upon it, it's there for you, and it's been accruing interest on top of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's the piece that put that question of like, are you worthy? Because we know the answer is yes, and intuitively they're in their head thinking like consciously yes,
right?
Subconsciously,
no.
Oh
man, and I continue to find those little things creep up. I'm like, damn it, Tami.
Yeah.
But I know this, and in some areas, a lot of areas of my life, I've figured that out. Like, yeah, I'm worthy of putting good, healthy food in my body. I'm worthy of going to the gym. I'm worthy of moving my body, or all these things. But there's other areas in my career, like there's still like, ooh, you got to fine tune that one. Like there's just, it continues to evolve. And you, like I said, you'll continue to get those little tests until you fully learn that lesson.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's having someone like you in their corner to remind them. And I think that's part of it is, yes, we have everything that we need, but sometimes you need those people like in your corner, holding your hand, holding that flashlight to be like, yes, you are. Keep going. Keep pushing that wheel. I will be here to remind you when you need to stop that we're going to keep going. Like maybe you need to take a little break and take a breath, but we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't have that as a kid growing up, they're just used to be like, well, I'm just going to give up because no one's going to notice. No one's going to care. When really they're actually almost waiting to see if someone notices. What kid sometimes doesn't test you? I'm going to tell my mom this. I'm going to see if she remembers. My daughter does this to me all the time. Oh, I'm like, you can't do that to a almost 43-year-old woman. Like, come on, that's not fair. Like,
they have minds like steel traps. Like, good God. Like Brynn especially, she remembers things. I'm like, how do you remember that detail of that? Like, what?
Yeah.
Mind blowing.
But what is so important about that is to try to remember some of those details, or at least having those conversations with your kids like, hey, I'm not perfect. Because if they give us something important and we don't remember or we don't notice, their little egos can create stories of like, oh, well, it must not be important to dad, or he must not care about me. Our egos will turn it and make it in all about us,
Right.
but in a way that makes us kind of dim our light or do things to our detriment,
Yeah.
you know, to overachieve to our detriment sometimes, or not try at all to our detriment. Like that pendulum can swing so far based on this one little story or this one little thing. And so that's why being so intentional about how we show up for them, but also for ourselves, is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, I don't know if this is a gender thing or not, but the idea that like, oh, I made a mistake and now it's like, oh crap, everything's gone down. It's like, no, it's just one mistake. You have to keep going, keep trying. You can't just like, well, now I've screwed it. Like now it's like, I had one of those things recently where I felt that. So Bryn and I kind of got into a tiff, and whether she slammed the door or not, the French doors that we have or not, doesn't matter. But like she did, and it was loud. And I was like, go to your room. I yelled at her, right?
I've had this moment,
and
100%.
And Emily's like, well, the night's ruined. And I'm like, yeah, like that was, hard. But I'm thinking about it, and she's upstairs and she's just, kind of having a tantrum. But but then I'm like, I have to be the one to go up there. I went up there and talked to her, and it was fine. And it got fine, but I felt the need in that moment. I could have been like, Emily, you go deal with it.
Yeah.
Right. But I felt like I needed to go deal with it. And I felt like after the fact, like that actually brought us closer.
Yes.
Because I was able to diffuse it up there with her and have a conversation. And it wasn't like that didn't end it. Like she was still, going through her things. But that was just one of those times when I was like, I look back on that and go, okay, that was a time when I could have shut down myself.
Yep.
And been like, well, I screwed up. Like that's just it. And Emily, I need you to take care of this now. And kind of again, and that goes back to like the idea of being the example and having the courage to go up there and be like, hey, like I might have been wrong in this whole thing, but also this is how you were behaving. And so this is what we need to talk about.
Yeah.
And so you can't predict or plan those things happening, right?
No.
So it's just like you got to be able to take the time and go, what do I need to do now?
Yeah.
Versus screw it.
Yep. Right. Because that's what so many of us want to do. And our ego is just like, yep, I don't want to deal with it. Their problem. They're throwing the tantrum. They're in the wrong, whatever. Like, okay. But when you actually get quiet, and if you were to listen to your intuition, I should really go up there.
Mm-hmm.
I would feel better tonight if I went to bed knowing that I went and at least acknowledged. Like there's some times where I've gone and Aria and I've had a similar moment, and I went in and she still wasn't ready to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And she might be able to tell me, I'm like, okay, well, when you're ready, know that I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
But just that little bit of check-in, because if I don't, again, she could create this whole story about how mom didn't really care. And now I'm just here at my room by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my son on the podcast when he was 6. And I had asked him, like, what should parents do when their kids have big emotions? And he goes, stay with them. Aria now, and both of them, they kind of need their space, right? Sometimes we all do, like, give me a moment and then I can come there. But don't just leave me to figure this out myself. And I think I overcompensated with Aria because I was the youngest of 4 girls. Like, I feel like no one ever really came to check on me. Like, I wasn't ever really in the arguments and stuff, but I heard them all.
Yeah.
And no one ever thought to come and check and see how I was doing. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Who's mad at, but no one ever thought to be like, hey, everything's fine. We talked through it. There wasn't that, so I'm here left. Well, now I don't want Aria to ever feel that way. So I would swoop in too soon.
Yeah.
And she wasn't ready to talk about it. And so I got her ego would usually, have a heyday with me, but I'm like, all right, I have learned now, take the time that you need.
Yep.
I'm here. I recognize it. And I'll come back and check if you want to talk. And if not, maybe we'll revisit this tomorrow.
Sure.
But it's just that, those little things. But when you can listen to our intuition, like, like if I were a kid, like I always kind of try to take it back to that. Like as a kid, like what did I need in this moment? Because as an adult, you're right. You can be like, screw it. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah.
When really like they're asking to be seen in those moments.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oh, Parenting's fun.
Parenting is fun. But it is. Like,
It's
so,
just it. Like, it
it's
is
so,
what it is. Yeah. Especially when you get it. Like,
yeah. And for all the reasons of just the opportunities to see them for who they are and what they are and how they like keep changing and improving. Natalie's got like a little whiteboard by her bed right now, and she's been writing note of the day and like riddle of the day.
oh,
And so she writes these out every night.
love
And it's been going on for a little bit. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but it's cool while it does. And,
yeah.
like all of her little notes of the day are about like us, meaning so myself, Emily, Benny, and Bryn all like being more kind. But like they're not questions, it's like statements
Yeah.
about what you should do. And because I was like, well, you could ask a question. She's like, no, I don't want that. And I was giving her ideas and like, no. But it's just cool because no one told her to do that.
Right?
No one was like, well, yeah, like you need to be more kind, or we need to be more kind. It was just like, that's just her being herself. And that's just the thing that she's doing. And it's just, it's super cool. Again, I'm not sitting there to try and go like, you're doing awesome now. Like, I really like, I really appreciate it. It's just recognizing that she's doing it,
Yeah.
reading what she says, trying to answer the riddle. Like, I think what she's just looking for, right?
Ooh.
Someone seeing that I'm doing this,
Oof.
and for no other reason than because I just care and I want people to be kind to each other. And so I'm going to put these little notes up here.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's a way that now she knows, like, that's the way that I get to connect with my dad, because he does notice those things.
And so is Emily, right? I mean, like Emily's looking for the same thing, right? So it's like mom and dad. And he can't read it, but she'll read it to Benny.
Yeah, I love that.
All the stuff. But yeah, so for her, it's just her way of.
I love that. And I can't even imagine. I mean, that could be a whole other podcast about twins. My dad's a twin. And, just like, how do you be your own person or not be compared or be seen by your parents when it's, there's a lot that goes into that. And so that's like this cool little unique way that she gets to engage with you two.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely hard for her because Bryn is the outspoken one.
Yeah.
Bryn is the loud one on top of it. And so, and Natalie is naturally an observer too. She just kind of takes stuff in, but then she sometimes says things and you're just like, that is so observant.
Yeah.
That is so observant. Like, I would have never caught that.
Yeah. And it's so cool as a parent, though. I'm just, because you can see one of those qualities like, oh, they're out there and they're outgoing, and people see that and kind of value that as better. But to be able to see her and how she's unique and to be able to, like, that's really.
Yeah. And I will 100% say that, and again, partially because like in a lot of ways, Bryn's like me. She's just like, hard driver. Not the most like graceful person, but she'll just keep hammering, right? And so she gained success that way.
Yeah.
And it's been the last maybe like year and a half. Emily's always seen it with Natalie. And I think they're kindred spirits a little bit that way too.
Yeah.
But it's finally, I'm starting to see it too. Like now, Emily's just incredibly in tune with both of them, which is a maternal thing, I think. And also she's just that person that's like all the kids, she's the second oldest. But all the cousins, especially the oldest cousin, she was always a favorite aunt. She just has this maternal instinct that is just super strong. And so she's always seen both our girls, but it's taken me a while to see Natalie, but it's really cool to start to see that. And I think for a lot of guys too, it happens more as the kids get older and they're more engaged in like the physicality of things, or at least with like girl dads. Now they're 9. And so again, like the last year and a half, I start to recognize and see Natalie coming into her own, and then again, trying to do my best to validate that.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. I feel like we could have a whole podcast on just that and like just how to show up as a dad, especially with girls. Because it's easy to be like, well, I don't relate. I'm not into their stuff. But it's like, oh man, they need you to still see them for who they are.
I mean, and that's a passion. I mean, like the coaching piece that I'm doing, like it's really truly driven towards like high achieving fathers.
Yes.
Professionally, high achieving fathers who are now going, okay, I need to make sure that I have the same level of eliteness for my physicality and my personal relationships. Because I'm passionate about that. I'm passionate about, and I'm passionate about the physical aspect helping the personal, because I think for men as a whole, connecting is far easier in physical
Yes.
aspects
Yep.
than it is in like, let's sit and talk about our feelings.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh God, that sounds terrible.
Bring it over here. I got you.
But like, go out and do things.
Yeah.
And then the conversation that you have when you're walking back home, or the conversation you have in the truck ride. I mean, like Brittany and I and Natalie and I in different aspects have had so many conversations on the way home from from gymnastics or from softball or whatever. But those things wouldn't happen if that physical piece wasn't there initially. And so for me, it's like, as a father wanting to help other fathers, it's like, if that's how you're going to best connect, then you've got to be able to be physically available to do those things. Like that means you have to keep yourself in proper physical condition so that when your kids say, let's go play, you're not going, I'm tired, my knees hurt, my whatever. Like you're like, yep, let's go.
100%. And I say that all the time with even both kids, but especially Arlo. I'm like, I have to work out literally to keep up with this kid. Yesterday we were wrestling, like throwing up over my shoulders. I'm like, I'm a 43-year-old mom. Like it feels good to be able to do that with him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think somebody really doesn't realize, like, oh, that's not normal.
Not normal.
That's not normal.
Being weird, right? Let's be weird.
I'll just be like WWE, like, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. But you're right, to be able to, be intentional in all areas. When you say high achieving, even my mind immediately goes to career and money and finances when that's not what you're really talking about.
No, it's not.
It's so much more than that.
But it's where we get the most validation through the early parts of our career. And that goes for females too, right? Obviously the reason why I'm gearing it towards fathers is because I am, right? I can be the example of that.
We need that.
For sure. But it goes for women too. I mean, there are, and especially women in like the male dominated fields, like, finance and law and stuff like that, where it's like women go in there and they just grind on the professional side of things. And then all of a sudden they look back and go, crap, I'm 40, 45, 50, and I've lost the physical piece and I'm not sure how to get it back, but I need it because I'm now 20 years away from retirement and I want to really enjoy this and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. Yep. And who am I even going to do it with? Because I've demolished all personal relationships to have professional success. Yep. Right. And so to help those people find those things again, it's like, now we're getting a fulfillment of life where, the foundational financial piece, you got that. Great. And then we layer those things on and it's like, now you can look back and go like, wow, like I like win every day, but I led a fulfilling life. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Oh, I feel like you want to drop this? Mic drop this? I love that so much. Thank you for the work that you're doing. And truly, I feel like we need to hear this more from men because of the roles and like the stereotypes and all those things that you get pushed into about we need you to provide. And so you take that on, but sometimes to the extreme where we miss the foundational things of just being at home and the gift that you can give with your presence, not just what you can provide. And what we can provide is also emotional needs, emotional safety with our kids. Because you're like, I had all the sports and cool stuff growing up, but what I didn't have was this. Yeah. And to be able to help dads understand, because if they didn't have that, sometimes they just don't even know how to give it. And so when you're giving these examples,
I didn't either.
Right.
But it's a learned thing.
Yeah. Because you started like, what did I need? How could I be that big brother, even to your own kids? But to give these examples about how you can actually see your daughters, like to truly see them. Those are the messages and the examples that we need to hear because we just don't sometimes know how to do those things. When it's so simple, but it's just not easy.
Well, and it's in a similar fashion too. It's then I have to give up this professional piece, and I'm very big belief on like the ripple effect of things. Yeah. Like let's drop one pebble in that physical aspect and see how it resonates out to all the other things. Yes. And a lot of times it turns out and you go, well, one, I have more energy than I did before, even though I'm spending more time working out. So I'm taking more time out of my day. And therefore the energy that I have, I can now pour back into my kids. And I have the physical ability to do so because my back doesn't hurt anymore. Yes. Like, holy crap, right? And so it's that kind of stuff too, where it's like, I'm not asking you to give up. And in fact, I firmly believe where I probably lack more than anything else at this point is empirical data of people who I've been working with to like prove this, but it's like I firmly believe that your professional success can actually improve.
Oh my gosh, yes.
When you take the time for your physical peace, when you take time for the personal relationships, because you can probably, what you're going to recognize is that you're wasting time in your job for whatever reason, or because that's how you have created value and fulfillment in your life. And then when you pull back on that, you realize I can get done as much as I was getting done before or more in less time, and then still get the other aspects. None of those being perfect, right? None of those being all or nothing.
Right.
But when you put all those pieces together, then like now you're achieving in this different level than you've ever experienced before.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. I feel like we need to have a part 2 of this. There's like so many different aspects of this. We can pull these out. But because we're getting up on that time.
I don't know what time is it doing.
What do you want to leave people with? I mean, first, certainly you want to let people know how they can find you because, again, the gym, speaking, coaching, like all these things are available.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you're like, ooh, I resonate with this dude, or I want to be able to receive this message or this coaching, one, how can they find you? But what do you want to leave people with too? Yeah.
Well, so I'll start with the where to find me. So I'm Coach J Mark on Instagram. So even though my name's not in there, long story is why I'm J Mark, but that's from a fitness thing a long time ago. But Coach J Mark on Instagram, and then Jared Markiewicz, you can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn and that type of thing. That's where most of my content is going now. Fit Madtown or fit.madtown is our Instagram handle.
Okay.
So that's where you can find the gym. And so it's functional integrated training, but fit for the acronym. And we're in Fitchburg, so it's pretty easy to get to from most places.
Fun. And you're like fit.
I know,
Fitchburg.
Fit in Fitchburg.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah. That was not planned, but it worked out.
Here we are.
Yeah.
All divine.
Yep. And then, but Fit Legacy is my brand. That is the speaking and the performance coaching and things we were talking about here. So it's they all fit together in different ways and shapes, right? I think the thing that, man, that's a good question. What do I want to leave people with? I think the thing that I want to leave people with is the same thing that we started with, and to actually really internalize what that phrase means, like progress over perfection, and realize that the things that you're trying to change do not and cannot be an all or nothing situation.
Right. It
is small, incremental steps that you have to take to get to the point of, wow, I am so good at whatever it is.
Yeah.
And when you take that mentality to bring in a new thing, then you stand a chance.
Yeah.
It's not saying that it's going to work. You might fail and learn, but at least that way you're giving yourself a fighting chance.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. This was so good. This was such a fun conversation. I love it. We had no idea where it was going to go, but here we are.
Here we are.
Awesome. Well, I will link all of his stuff, how you can find him, how you can train, how you can coach, all of those things. And thank you truly for the work that you're doing, not just at the gym and coaching, but as I would coach with the kids and as a father and the example that you're setting for parents and dads, especially from an inner child perspective. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're going to help heal so many more people than you even realize, and so many people's inner child that you didn't even know. So good stuff.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Until next week, we will be back. And thank you again. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ah, that was so good.
Thanks.
That was super fun.
Yeah.
I love that.